somebody give me started 18, 1 and 3, and he even said his angel to declare what would come. Now that's why it's so important for you to understand these things and begin to make preparation. Now, a lot of people think we're going to be raptured out of here. I said, no, you ain't going to be raptured. You're going to have a sad situation. You're going to find you're going to be right here in this mess, in this chaos, and you have not made any preparation, either psychological or spiritual, for what's to come. So let us read that, and then what we're going to do real quick is there's a couple of things I think I'll do. Let us read the S&A, couple of things I want to read in here, and then I'll talk about this at the at our meeting. I just want to show you that they're not the news, ABC, NBC, Fox. They're not telling you that the system is literally collapsed. And as we enter 2012, you will see things. You will further unraveling. See, people thought that 2009 when the real estate collapsed and all that stuff, oh, they saved the system. No, they haven't solved any problems. They're so deep in debt. Let me give you an example of what we mean. 10 years ago, the debt of the world was about $80 trillion. I said 80 trillion. Now, $1 trillion is a thousand what? Billions. 1,000 billions. A billion is 1,000 millions. And a trillion is 1,000 billions. Well, the current debt of the whole world now is actually about 250 a trillion. I said trillion. Now the economy of the whole world, put all the economies together, they are roughly running about 60 trillion.
Can't be paid.
That's the whole point. This is the economy. All the economy, the world's economy, it's all the economies. And the United States is roughly 1/4. It's about 15 trillion, the GDP. So the world economy is about $60 trillion. Well, hell, they got 250 trillion in what? Debt. It can't be paid. They broke. So how do you get out of a situation like that? You'll soon find out. That's why we go to Revelation 18. Now, unless you come out of Babylon, you're going to be in deep big trouble. As these nations, what they're going to do, first of all, they're going to print up what? One, they're going to do what?
Print up more money.
The first thing they're going to do is print up more money. They're going to print up more money, and as they print more money, it makes what? You make your current dollars what? This is inflation, as they call it. This inflation that's coming. And that's two. What they're going to do is raise your what? They're going to raise taxes. They're trying to pay off this debt, which is impossible. It's an utterly impossibility of ever paying off this debt because the interest on the debt, they can't even pay the interest, let's know
the principle.
The principle. So they in a hell of a mess. And most of this debt, is actually controlled by the USA and the what? And EU. They hold about 75% of the debt. Of the debt. Africa ain't never had no money to go broke. They always went broke. See, Asia got some money. They got more money, but as a result of trade. But this debt is mostly owned by the United States and Europe. So they broke. So what they're going to do is devalue all money throughout the world. Is going. That's the last phase. And when people finally realize that money what?
Fail.
And that's when people are going to try to get as much gold. If they haven't got gold in silver, why is cheap? They'll be a hell of a fix. And they don't know. And on top of that, they don't even know Yahweh. Oh, I know Jesus. What did Jesus say then? Yeah. He said, be blessed. I said, okay, we're going to find out how blessed you are. You ain't made no preparations, haven't received no dreams or vision about nothing, and that's all right, but that's a penalty to be paid. And in the Lord's prayer, we're going to read that. He says, forgive us our what?
Trespasses, our debt.
That's right. In other words, now, The only way out of this thing, we're gonna show forth, the only way out of it, but the devil don't wanna do it, is they gotta do what to the debt?
Jubilee.
They gotta forgive the debt. That's Jubilee. The debt is so big now, and that's the problem we have now. You said, what's happening? That means the countries are in debt. In the United States, the cities and counties are in debt. The corporations are in debt. And everybody, most Americans are what? In debt. So that's why we gotta play this. Let me play this thing here. What?
The interest on that 10 billion a day or more.
Yeah.
Hey.
Now listen, this is what.
Or more, yeah. That's the interest on that.
Debt collectors are going to great lengths to collect their money, and they are invoking little-known laws in some states that.
What makes life tense? It's what?
No money.
No money. Debt. Debt.
That will make you lose your damn mind. Literally. You see people walking in a place and locking and low, they done lost their job.
Yeah.
And they just walk in a place, they figure, I done lost what?
Everything.
Everything. And I know my debt, my debtors are unrelenting. My aunt died, and they still, she in the grave, they still talking about. She says, Mr. Charlie Bell Warren, does she have an estate? I said, no, we had to bury her. You want to contribute to that? Everybody wants their money, and the devil will follow you in the grave. And if he can follow you into heaven, he can make you get over there.
They get back there.
That's right.
He would. He could.
Sure, you understand? But that's how deep this thing is. So it's saying as tense as the situation is because people are in fear of losing their job. Because once they lose their job, they lose the house, and the wife is soon gone.
Yeah.
Because it says for better off of what?
Worse.
Worse. I can't handle this.
They don't do
So
better.
you can see there how this thing, especially if she's a white woman, she ain't hanging around. When they gone, she gone. That's right. That's right. And one of the biggest things that causes the matrimony to fail is not infidelity. It's what?
Money.
Money. That's it. So you get that stuff straight. We ain't out here just talking. See? So finish reading that there.
As if life wasn't already tense enough for Americans who can't pay their debt, collection agencies are now taking advantage of archaic state laws to have some debtors arrested and sent to jail.
That's right, they ain't playing. You said you don't use the American Express card, you don't use change, you took out money, and you think you go fly around here with the hell wrong with you? We worse than the mafia.
You got that right.
More than 1/3 of U.S. states allow debtors to be arrested and jailed.
They didn't tell you that, did you? But if you cite that credit card, they said, listen, we know if you can't pay, you going to jail. Okay, read.
Judges typically grant arrest warrants when the debtors have failed to show up for court dates or failed to make court-ordered payments. Of course, the reason...
Now, how you going to make court-ordered payments if you're homeless? You live on the expressway.
They don't care.
Or, as a guy said, one of the people I know, his brother, the creditors are calling him, the bank is calling him, asking him where his money at. He asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm collecting cans. and there was a silence on the phone for about a half hour.
I know it was.
Because they know, if you collected cans, you what? You broke, you ain't getting nothing for me. That's right. So you can see how crazy it's going to get. Read.
You got to bring it down.
Scroll down.
Okay.
Scroll down. The other side. Of course, the reason debtors have failed to make court-ordered payments is often the same reason they didn't pay their debts in the first place. They don't have any money. In September, a 53-year-old woman named Vivian Joy was stopped for a broken taillight in Champaign, Illinois.
Okay, that is in the state, I think.
That is.
Okay, so you're in the state of Illinois. I just want to make you conscious of that, anybody out there from television land, you are something you put in jail for not paying your debts and Chase and all these other folks. Okay, read.
And then because the cops discovered that she hadn't paid $2,200 to a collection agency.
To the collection agency.
She was cuffed and carted off to jail.
That's right.
Joy's excuse, she doesn't have any money. 53-year-old woman. One more line. Come on down, Lee.
Okay, now she's 53 years old. She don't have $2,200. Now what is $2,200? How long do you think you can live with $2,200?
About 2 monmonths.
You couldn't leave. That's right, about 2 months, about all of that.
That's about 2 months.
And you better not. You better be living with a family member.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because if you live in one of these hotels, I mean, that money's what?
Gone in a month.
Gone.
In a month.
Jailing debtors for not paying their debts is apparently especially popular in Illinois.
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
This practice,
Now
regardless.
they got the nerve to put you in jail and Illinois can't pay their debts.
Hold on.
See, this is what we're dealing with, Reed.
This practice, needless to say, is preposterous. If people can't pay their debts and have no prospects of being able to pay their debts, they should declare bankruptcy, and the debt should be written off. Companies don't go to jail when they default. Neither should people.
Okay, so that we have an example of how far and how extreme this thing is going to go.
Can you use that for defense?
What?
What you just read?
Well, what happened to that woman?
She still got to put in jail. You got to file bankruptcy. That's the only
That's
way
what I'm
out.
saying.
Oh, you got the only way out of it. You got to file bankruptcy, and you got to ask somebody what to do that, and that costs money.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just don't. And this system here, I mean, ain't nothing free in America. Say now unless you do it per yeah. So okay, we got that understood. So to understand the situation that we're in. So in essence, what we are in is a system that has financially enslaved people. Now they're not walking around in chains. They're not being whipped like our ancestors was. They're not. The women are not being raped physically. But this stuff is all spiritual and what? And in fact, it's worse off because at first, at least some people knew they was what?
Slaves.
They knew they were slaves. You see people walk around here and tell me, well, I got my Lexus, I got my house, I got this and this. I'm free. You ain't free. Go somewhere and get sick for 3 months. Or 6 months. And I'll tell you one thing, that phone will start what?
Ring off the hook.
And it started ringing off the hook. And all chase and all these people say is where's their what?
Money.
Where's their money? See, so that's what we're trying to make you conscious of. And you got, and on top of this, you still got to pay your what?
Taxes.
Taxes. That's why people are so what? Tense now, as a result of all this heavy burden being placed on them spiritually and psychologically. A lot of this could be relieved if they understood some of the principles of what would transpire. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a moment, but I want you to go in and read, this is Stanberry. You know, we read a lot of stuff from Stanberry. He's the one who wrote, what's the Last Days of America? What's that thing there? The End of America. And that's what we are. We're the end of a great American empire. And not only America, but the whole world. Even Europe, you got the pig nation. That's all going broke. And to show you how much they have not told you, in the last month, there's been 2 major bankruptcies and nobody knows nothing. MF Global went blew up.
Right.
Them poor people, I don't know if they ever get some of that money, and the person, and they mentioned about $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion of the people, they don't took money out of the people's what?
Accounts.
Accounts.
Even Salente.
Well, we hear Salente talk about that.
Yeah, no, he could.
I think we're going to bring that up there, Penny. We're going to see many people. I worked in a bank, in a trust department. I worked in a trust department, handling vast amounts of money, which would probably be worth about $500 million a day. And I know how white people are when they lose their money. Black people ain't never had no money.
Right.
I mean, money. But my point is this, is that MF Global is when, and there's a Belgian bank, it's called Dexia, Dexia.